Sure, sure. We met together and discussed the production of the Mark 12A at the King of Prussia plant, at the General Electric plant. Considered the connection between the specific involvement of the General Electric Company in the production of counterforce and first strike weapons, and the immediate dangers and the immediate urgencies of the arms race that I was talking about a minute ago. And in considering that this is perhaps we're one of the most dangerous and most serious and important weapons of this new system is being created, that perhaps this is the place to begin with this statement. The Mark 12A is a re-entry vehicle. It is a independently targetable vehicle. It has a range and an accuracy and a power that makes it effective, and only effective for that matter, as a system that will knock out an enemy's retaliatory forces before those forces can be brought into play, and is clearly intended as a weapon that is not targeted on civilian areas, as a deterrence would be expected to be under some circumstances, but is clearly designed to get an enemy before that enemy can get you. And for that reason falls into a category that is largely beyond the thinking of most people when they think of the arms race and when they think of the Soviet threat. And for that reason, and is particularly dangerous as a part of this stage of the arms race, and for that reason is particularly significant as a target to focus upon the urgency of the immediate crisis, and having determined that this is that this is a focus, that this is where it is at in a very large sense. The question is, how do you do something about it? How do you find one of these things? How do you get into the plant? How do you do something that makes any sense once you get in, assuming that you find a weapon? Well, these considerations evolved over some period of time until we set an occasion where we had perhaps more as an act of faith than anything else, but at least some prospect that there was a probability of finding what we were looking for. And we determined on a certain morning in September that we would think and move together to destroy, to commit an enactment of beating a sword, at least one sword, into a plowshare, and determined, as of course is known now, the 1st of September is the time to do this. And we began, we prayed and thought and spoke together for some days beforehand. And early on the morning of September 9th, rose under the light of the morning star and drove toward King of Prussia. We gathered briefly and then checked made sure that we were all thinking and moving together, and we proceeded toward that. We found that as has been, I guess, reiterated more than once, that the entry into the back door of this plant was startlingly easy. We got to the back doors. A watchman was standing literally with his back to us, reading a newspaper. Anne and Carl went to speak to him and to explain our nonviolent intentions and to explain the purpose of our coming in to the building, and to as gently and clearly as possible explain who we were and why we were doing what we were doing, and in fact what we were going to do. There were statements that have been part of our whole action that were given to the guard at that time. The rest of us walked around that conversation that was going on and into two doors that led to the larger part of the plant. We made a right turn down the hall, and then a left turn, and then another right turn into what turned out to be the non-destruct test area for the Mark 12A. It's a large tooling area, and there were a large number of boxes that were part of the process of the testing procedure for the Mark 12A. Found two of the nose cones and removed them from their about yay long, surprisingly small for such a dangerous and lethal object. They ultimately will carry a destructive force 30 times the power of the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. But just seeing them as these empty cones, there was a startling innocence and a startling simplicity about their design, and which made their ultimate use and their ultimate lethality all the more sinister. But we began what turned out to be, in character and consistent with the spirit of our action, a very rhythmic and almost theatrical, in the most serious sense of that word, intonation of a note of hope that we feel involved all of the employees that were coming in at that time, because there was, in fact, a kind of circle of people that gathered at some distance, observing what we were doing. We sang, and I think first we engaged in the rhythmic hammering of the nose cones until people began to approach, and then we laid the hammers down, as we indicated there. We had decided that we would do that. If anyone came close by, we would go out of our way to make sure that we did not give any suggestion whatsoever that anyone's life or person might be in danger. That we were certainly, because of the fact that there was hammering involved in this sort of thing, we wanted to be very clear about our total nonviolent commitment in this context. So there was a decision that we would lay down our hammers if anyone approached us, and this did happen at one point, and then we regrouped. After beating on the cones themselves, we put the hammers down and then poured the blood on the documents and the blueprints that were close by, and then regrouped into a small circle where we sang and chanted and spoke in a kind of not strictly rhetorical way, because there were people around who were interacting, at least on a nonverbal way, with our witness and with what we were doing, and there was a sense of clarity and a sense of, if I may say the word, a sense of being infused into the house of war machinery. And I think there was a spirit of this penetration of reality in some degree at that point that was quite startling and quite perceptible in the course of our enactment. We remained in this circle until we were taken by the guards to the entrance area where we had originally come in. The guard was there, and there was, I think, if I remember correctly at that point, excuse me, Carl Kabat was even outside had been taken outside the door for one moment, and then he was brought back with the group. So we were all, he had remained back after the rest of us had gone into the non-destruct area where the cones were, and then joined us in this final circle where again we began singing and carrying forward a statement that was that came through in music and in words that as much as possible made the continuity between the act itself and our arrest and our eventual incarceration that day. And as you well know, our incarceration for 4.5 months following that point, a continuing statement, and a statement that we hope is continuing through the court process as we today began the opening statements in the trial, and will be continued to be tried through this week.
You used the word enactment.
Yes.
And I was wondering if